All right, guys, we're back. We jumped out a little early. We were trying to get Coach Larose in. He's had his wife come in and successfully connect it for him, so we are in. Now I get it. Coach Bob Larose of our team right now, South High Colonels. We also are here with Coach Rob Orell, the Massachusetts Pirates.
Sure.
We talked about in segment one how Rob has a camp. Rob has a showcase going on, the spotlight. The kids don't get the spotlight that they deserve. Coach Larose is here coaching a team that does not get the spotlight that they deserve. So it's kind of a divine matchup here.
Mike, I was glad to hear about Rob's, prospective camp here. And here's what I'm going to tell you what's missing in Central Mass. And I work for Excel Sports Academy out in Springfield. They pretty much fund the Springfield Central team. All their coaches work for them. They've kind of monopolized the whole thing from, 495 West, okay? And they do a great job. They fund Springfield Central. It took them 8 years to do it, but they pay like 16 coaches for Springfield Central. They definitely, if you're paying your $40, it's going to them. You know what I mean? I work for them. Now that Angelo's having a good year, you know what I mean? Now everything's free, but there's nothing like that here, okay? There's nothing like that here. I know you're going to Rhode Island to do it, but, we're going to have a new field at South High in the spring, and we're looking to do that kind of thing here. I think that, locally, there's really nothing. And people are objective to it. People, will tell you you're crazy for trying to do it and all this stuff, but they're really not, because these kids are going to come, and it starts early. And running these camps really gets kids going forward constantly with football. And there's enough good guys around that can run a quality camp, right? And that's the big thing. I mean, if someone's gonna give you $40 for a couple hours, right, or $30, you got to put on a good product, right? But what the Springfield guys do is they give everyone a profile, okay? You do a 5-10-5, a 40, and a broad jump, right? It's like 45 minutes. You rotate through. They split you up in enough groups where they, it's like an hour and a half. So you do like 45 minutes of that, and then you do 45 minutes of individual with a really good individual coach. And they've got it down to a science where they know the kids that are advanced and the kids that aren't. So, if you're a DB that's advanced, you're in that hour and a half with advanced DBs.
Yep.
Or advanced receivers. You mix and match, you know what I mean? You really want to, because you want the kids coming back. So, a progressive type of thing. But the profile is what makes it hit, right? Kid runs a 4.8 1 week. Okay, he's on his profile. The next week, he runs a 4.76. Now that 4.8 gets cleared out, and now he's on a 4.76. That is something that is totally missing in this part of the state. Everything east of 495 is different than west. You know what I mean? Even the new rating system and all that, it's all nonsense. It's all geared towards Eastern Mass, because it's almost like the House of Representatives, where they have more votes than we do no matter what. So whatever they say is going to go through. And you play the Holy Name, right? And you play with Quran Wright, right? Isaiah Wright last year in the spring had a phenomenal year at Permco. Isaiah Wright was at the Worcester Cowboys. He was another Worcester Cowboys kid that I know. You know what I mean? The Worcester Cowboys, by the way, their alumni are killing it right now all over the place, okay? Yeah. And I won't tell you who built that program, but all right.
Tell them the record.
I don't want to tell you. You could tell them.
Wow, 49 in a row. 49 in a row. And that's not a number you just pull out, man. This guy was responsible for that.
Did you work? Did you work with?
What? No one cares about that. I don't care about what I do at themselves high, and in 22 games, I'm 39, but they were like 4-80 before then. So, you know, you do the math. So we're getting there. You know what I mean? We got a young team that hustles, and we got our lunch money taken on the second half against Artie the other night. But you know what I mean? It's a live and learn thing. You know, we were there for a while. You know.
Yeah.
So we'll get there. You know, we'll certainly get there, and you know, but hearing Rob talk, you know, like there's so much to do here, football wise and recruiting wise, and really that's the objective, is to get kids into a better place from the city.
Yeah.
And that's really my goal. You know what I mean? I don't care really what your ability is, but I know if you're a student athlete and you can put a few things together, and there's so much market for it here, especially at the younger levels, you know, it's absurd. Like, nobody's jumped on it. Like, I don't understand how nobody's jumped on it. I did it at the Cowboys. They were they were sinking ship, you know, and we started that flex football thing with the, you know, it looks like an old school helmet and all that. And I had the rights to that for a couple of years, and they took off and ran with it when I left. But they made it more of a money thing. I was doing it for like basically nothing, you know.
What do you do in your spare time? Fire, right?
I do that. Yep.
Yeah, on the
I
side.
can clean windows. I can clean your windows like crazy. You know what I mean? I'm not that.
It's the real deal. His heart's in the right place, man. With these kids, you got.
You know what I do in my spare time? I watch film, talk about football. You know, to a point where sometimes, you know, my own family don't like me. You know,
yeah, it's common.
It is what it is. You know, but you know, I mean. It's honestly, you know, I care about the 45 kids I have every day, right? Yeah. And knowing them each individually and knowing how to push some of their buttons individually. I mean, you don't know all of them. You know, some of them you get to know a little better as they get older, and then you can push your buttons. But, you know, you're dealing with 14-year-old kids, you know, 15, 16. When they're 17 or 18, they're a little easier. You kind of know, you know the landscape. You kind of know what makes them go and what doesn't make them go. But when you just get them in your program, you don't know. So you got to figure that out for a year or two. And, you know, some make it, some don't. I wish them all the best of luck. I always tell them I love them, you know. Yeah, and I do. You know.
100%. You absolutely, man. Now, Rob, when I first met Bobby, I did an article on South, and we had chatted after, and he said, come down and check out practice. All right, so when I get there, there's another dude there with a notebook, right? And Bobby says to me, hey, you know, he's here, but I told him he couldn't come through unless he did an article on the O-line. You couldn't have hit me harder in the chest with that. The guys that go unnoticed, the guys, you know, that always, you know, when's the last time you seen an autographed offensive line card being sold for any amount of money, or even nothing? You get overshadowed. The Hogs, baby. And it all comes full circle because that was Big Jim. Big Jim took us to Tim Tin Buffet when it first opened.
Oh, you love that place.
Oh, and said, go get it, Hogs. Dude, I'm telling you, there's going to be a tribute up there. We're going to make it happen, but that's why I wanted to have you guys on together. Cause
you like this trip to the Dominicans. You know what I mean? You go down to the Dominican Republic.
That's part two. But the Hogs, man, the offensive line. So and also, Rob, we talked about earlier. At the end of that game, the way those guys celebrated, you could tell what they put into that entire season. Just everywhere. That was the best part of that entire game for me. Watching those guys, you could tell they worked for that, you know? You guys, Bobby, you guys are working with the same thing.
Well, you guys don't remember, like, the first Worcester Arena team, and I forget the name of them, but the Marauders. No, there was one before them, I think.
Yeah, there was.
There was one. There was one before them 30 years ago, and it was like a flash in the pan, but it was like 1 year, It was unbelievable. The guy was just out of high school. And, you know, the first couple games was called the Centrum at the time because I'm a class of 89, right? I'm not a young buck like you guys.
Yeah, I'm 42, Bobby. He's like 28. It's a Centrum to me.
Yeah, it was a Centrum, right? But we used to wait in line with a wristband for concert tickets down there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But the place was rocking, you know, like for like 4 games, and then that was it. They were gone, you know, because you know, who knows what those leagues at the time were. You know, I don't know. They're probably not financially stable, and you know, I don't think the rent at the DCU is cheap. So,
Right.
you know, you got to sell tickets, you know, and do all that thing. And what happens with a lot of those local teams around here, which is, you know, discouraging, especially the hockey teams too, is they end up giving away like hundreds of tickets, right? So eventually, if your product isn't good enough, and I know the lady that runs the rail is Steph Training. She's fantastic. She does the marketing for the railers. She's fabulous, right? But the problem, you know, Steph?
No, I'm laughing because you know who's there this weekend? Is Joey Chestnut.
So Steph's a Webster Square girl. Steph Rainey.
Right.
I don't know her maiden name though. You know what I mean? That's her married name, but she was a South High girl. She's the marketing director for the Railers.
That's awesome.
And you know, she has the same complaint. Is, you know, they'll sell a bunch of tickets because they play so many games. That's the thing with the Railers. You know, they play too many games. So you play 30, 40 games, 15 of them, they're going to sell plenty of tickets. The next 15, not so much. They're going to give tickets away just to fill the stands so they can sell popcorn, you know, and that kind of thing. So it's a tough venture for someone like Rob and, you know, and all the people that are involved with the football down there, because you got to fill the place.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you need exposure. You need the Rob. You were irritated by it. I could tell. I mean, there's no
that's
way
the truth.
we should have gotten that late, and I'm guilty. There's no way that I should have made it to that part of the season knowing you guys going to the ship without hearing like the path.
But there are some Pirates guys that coach down at the Worcester Cowboys.
Marty.
You know? Yeah. I mean, they do. I mean, the Cowboys are out. I mean, the Pirates guys are out there. They're doing a great job. Yeah. And, you know, they're community people. And that's what I'm saying about getting some local stuff going on around here with combines and recruiting. And if somebody would step up, and I'd love to do it. You know, I got this thing, a little thing called Project Grind. I'm trying to get off the ground, but it's kind of like a Springfield Central thing. But I just haven't had a facility yet. And but it's something I know how to do now because I worked with Excel. So, like, you know what I mean? And it's not like I worked for Excel for a month. I've been out there for 3 years, you know? So I know how to do it, but you can't sell a product with junk coaches. You know what I mean? Like, you need a good QB coach if you're going to sell a product, you know? Because if you have some elite kids coming in, you don't want to be doing basic stuff, right? No. I mean, there's definitely a market for basic stuff, right? But that's the hour you do the basic kids. But if you have an elite group of kids in any position, you want an elite coach, you know, and you got to pay those guys. But
exactly,
paying them isn't that big a deal, but you got to get the whole program off the ground in order to do that. But there's such a market for it here that I think whoever does it first or whoever does it best is going to, you know, I'd like to do it. And I'd like to make South High like a front page team every week. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It takes a lot of work. I'm ready to do the work, but I need guys. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to get guys from the Pirates and things like that. Like you said, Marty's down at the Cowboys all the time, but Marty could be getting paid for that stuff. You know what I mean? He could be getting paid.
Bismarck.
Yeah. I mean, so, you know, I went. You know, the thing is. So I got this idea because I went down to Florida, you know, to recruit for Nichols, and you know how they do it. Like, we literally started at the top of Florida and worked all the way down for 2 weeks, and it was a showcase every day where it was, we went into a gym, a high school gym, and we were next to 30 different colleges or 30 different like prep schools, and you had 200 kids walk by you. You give them information, they walk away. Like it was just nuts. And it's like, where is that in Worcester? Where is that in Central Mass? And you don't see it. And then I go to this thing called the Orange Bowl down in Florida, where it's huge. They have so many kids there, so many coaches, like 50 colleges.
You're 28. The Orange Bowl was the biggest thing in the world when I was a kid.
It's just like wild what kind of recruiting they do down there. Now, granted, like they have good weather all year round, so I think that plays into it. But so it's a little bit tougher. Like I would love to do something right in Worcester, but we don't really have a bubble, like a dome, where if it's in December, and it starts nasty storm out. It's not like there's anywhere in Worcester to put anybody, to put it inside. So, that's why we go, about 45 minutes away from Worcester to the bubble that we're doing it in, because it's a little bit, we're trying to market it for all of New England. But as a Worcester guy myself, like I want to get kids from Worcester. I've legitimately sent out over 1,000 emails just trying to get the word out. And, I'm following kids on Twitter every day. You know what? It's some kids it's going to be great for. Some kids, they're like, it's just we're not interested, and that's fine. But I want to at least give every kid an opportunity to know, like, these things are out there, and this is, a great way, not the only way, but a great way to get your name out there, and to have some great colleges coming by. Worcester State, Nichols College, AIC, some real colleges that. These are good schools for them to look at. Some great great coaches to come by as well. University of New England out in Maine. So
Bedford, Maine.
Yeah, it's a little out there, but they have a great program over there, and they have a great facilities, great education, and I'm not going to have a school that I don't really trust or really believe in to not come to the event. And there are some coaches that I look at and I'm like, I'm not a fan of your technique or your style of recruiting. I don't like, there's recruiters in the game that sell you the world, but once you get on campus, you're like, not all of it. And it's like, no.
Well, nothing's real, Rob, until it's in writing, right?
Exactly.
And what I, we almost got to promote like a scouting network here where a kid has a profile.
I agree.
He has, X, Y, and Z, and he doesn't have to do that because a lot of kids around the area don't have the resources to even do that, right? They have a phone, okay? Half the time it's a junk phone, right?
Yep.
But to create a profile for them and put them, and Twitter's a big thing. Football is all about Twitter, right? Everyone in football is on Twitter. All the football coaches are on Twitter. I can't do Twitter. I don't know. I'm not that savvy, But I have.
I can't. I'm not capable, man. I'm to Instagram.
It's hard to figure out for whatever reason for me too. But that's where all the football stuff goes down for these kids. It's Twitter, right? But it's getting a group of people together locally that aren't too greedy, you know what I mean? And making money off here and there, right? Make enough money to pay your coaches and get your costs down and all that kind of thing, and do the right thing. And there's so many good players locally that, I can name 10 off the top of my head that should be recruited. The Cole Nelson kid from Clinton is nasty, right? He's 6'3", 230, and he runs a 4.7, that kid's a stud, Yeah. We play them in 10 days. So I'm worried about him, directly. There was 2 or 3 kids on Doherty the other night. I was like, holy shit, on film, they didn't look that, they look average. And then you get on the field with them, they're ripping your head off, right?
Some of their receivers looked like Megatron, bro. And they had one lineman that was
the kid number 1. Well, Boutraw's 52. So he's going to Yale or something now. He's like a doctor already. So,
Good.
number one was a killer, right? He killed us. I mean, he was going against my freshman left tackle. The poor kid got creamed all night. You know what I mean? I mean, what do you tell a freshman? Oh, hey, you got creamed by this kid that's a stud. I mean, but learning lessons, right? We played. I think the quarterback from Uxbridge is very good. I think, there are kids all over the place that are dying. They don't want to go to Springfield. You know what I mean? Because you're second fiddle out there. Unless somebody tells the coaches out there, hey, watch this kid. And that's how a lot of these camps work. Like, a lot of this stuff is rigged, like you wouldn't believe. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, it's rigged. If you cannot play down a football during the pandemic, I'm going to give you a story, okay? And if you have a minute. But I do DBs for those guys when their DB coach is not available. And this guy Juice is awesome. He played at UMass. He was like an All-American. He's their DB coach. He's unbelievable. He's put like 7 guys in D1 from Springfield Central. He's phenomenal. So I tag along with him for 6 or 8 months, and then when he couldn't make it, they'd have me fill in. And I would just do Juice's stuff. Yeah. But it was like this elite group of kids. Anyway, so we had this 2021 camp out at AIC during the pandemic, and I had a really good group of kids, but it was all the kids that was supposed to be 2021. But I dragged Angelo with me because, of course, I'm teaching it. And at the time, he didn't even drive. He's like 15, right? He hits like a 4.6 that day. He does like a 3.9 in his 5.10.5, and he broad jumps like 9.5. AIC coach offers him that day full scholarship. Jeez. That day. And I said, you can't even talk to him, bro. He's like, why? He's a 2021 camp. I'm like, no, he's my son. I just took him here because I'm teaching. He's only a sophomore, right? So it's just so rigged. Like, it was just times. Like, they never even seen him play. And I'm like, this is craziness. Like, and that's when I started learning. That was 18 months ago. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like, it's all about certain things with certain people, right? It's all about that. He could have been a horrible football player, and they would have given him a scholarship that day. That's the thing. Like, sometimes the ballers don't get the respect they need. And there's a lot of kids. I play Division III at Westfield, right? There's 1 million tight ends, there's 1 million receivers, and there's 1 million DBs. Everyone's average. There's a handful of kids that are pretty good on both sides of the ball, but there's no linemen, right? That's the DB dynamic. There's just no linemen because all the big 300-pound linemen that can run it all aren't playing Division III. Exactly. So you either getting a big, heavy kid that can't move, or you're getting some tall, skinny kid that can't block, and that's why if you have a good defense in Division III, you can win the whole thing. Yep. But it's so needed in this area, and with the Pirates being on here with you, I think it's what the heck? I think I lost you guys.
No, we're good. I seen his face. What, it just turn on?
I don't know what the hell happened there.
We can hear you. We can see you.
You can't see me?
No, we can see you.
We can see you.
Oh. I don't know what happened.
Don't touch anything.
Oh,
let your wife take care of it. God damn it.
I got it. I'm not. I got this one little Chromebook mic that I use for everything.
We can see you. We can hear you. It's all good.
But honestly, like, the Pirates are a great thing in the city, and like I said, a lot of those guys are in the community doing stuff with, like, I think there's a guy Burncoat that helps. I think obviously there's a guy down at the Cowboys. Like, it's all good stuff. It's all good stuff.
Right,
but
what is Marty's full name? We haven't said it. Give him a shout.
I don't even know.
Marty Gilliard. He's a receiver for the Pirates. He's a very good player. I know he was with the Cowboys, but then I also, him and I, obviously I was coaching with the Pirates, and we needed a DB's coach over at Nichols. So, him and I were able to work together, and we got him over to Nichols as well. And he's still there, coaching the DBs. I believe he's also working with the special teams.
I think the BMR quarterback's going to Nichols next year.
Oh,
Blackstone Millville. Yeah.
It's a good school. I loved it. And that's another college that's going to be at the showcase that we're getting into. Just trying to get the best opportunities for the kids, because I love the idea of what you're saying, like, getting them the profiles and getting them, more opportunities. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do is, trying to create like its own, recruiting database for, you know, anybody that's able to come to these events. I understand, like, the problem is I was like, we're starting up something very, like, I'm small in the sense of, like, right now it's really just me and another group of two working on this event. So it's us three trying to promote this big event. And so, we're covering all the costs, and, but we're trying to get the best opportunities for these kids with the best coaches that we can get. I'm talking to guys that, were with the Pirates or D1, in the NFL at some point, or potentially trying to go, even some current players that I'm, at some good schools, D1 schools, trying to come to these events. And, like you said, you got to pay the coaches, and, to have the best coaches around, you're going to have to pay a little bit more. And I understand that. And so, we're trying to just do the best we can. And then, my goal is for the spring, get to a local school, a local field, and have the same event a little bit bigger, and promote it.
It can't be one event, Rob. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you do these events weekly, like the guys at Excel does, it's a weekly thing. Like, it's got to be consistent from March through the summer. And you build the data. It's like building a bank, man. Like, banks make money on pennies, right? That's all they're doing. They give 2.5% interest. That's how they make their money. So you have this database of players. Now people are going to come to you. You're going to get better and better coaches coming to you saying, who do you got? Who do you recommend? And, you can't try to sell every kid, because not every kid is, phenomenal, right? But you try to put the kid in the best situation that, if a kid's a really good player and a good student, above average player, you want to put him in like a Williams or an Amherst or a Colby or something like that, where, he's an all-star player in high school, but he's not a Division I player, right? But he's going to go to one of those schools, and he's going to come out of there and rock and roll, and make way more money than, he ever imagined, because you put him in the best situation. Like, but that database, that consistent database, having a couple of events is great, but consistent events, putting a brand on it, having some people there, like, there's a way to do it. I've seen it working with these guys. And like I said, what you're doing is great, but it can't be a one-time hit. You know what I mean? It's got to be consistent.
My goal right now is to, eventually I want to get to that level of, like, a weekly event. But, the goal right now for me is to try to get 4 a year. And I think I hear what you're saying of creating the profile. I think you can still create the profile, and you can sell to these coaches, like, look, this is what his number was at the beginning of the year, and throughout this year, like, you see his numbers progress. And so, you gotta have
measurables, right? You gotta have measurables, whatever they may be. What those guys' measurables are is the 5, 10, 5, the 40, and the broad jump. You can add one, subtract one, do whatever the heck you want. You can do the 3-cone, you can do those things, but those events, you can sell a kid on those, and he doesn't have to play it down in football, and he'll get a scholarship. It's crazy, right? If he can run, basically,
Yeah, I mean, even, like, when I was recruiting, like, that's the thing. Like, I look at a kid and I'm like, all right, he fits the description. Then you go and look at his times. It's like, all right, he checks the boxes. I'm automatically, he's on my radar. He's local. And then, you
look at his grades and if he's recruitable.
And then I'm watching him throughout the rest of the camp, though. The showcase. How is he doing? Like, how is he acting to the other players? How is he acting to the other coaches? How is his, when they're doing the drills, how is he doing with it? And, one thing, I've talked to other coaches. I'm like, look, like, D1 coaches, I'm like, what do you look for when you're watching a kid, do a drill, or when you're, recruiting and you're at these showcases, what's differentiating one kid from another kid? And he's like, when a kid messes up and a coach tells him how to fix it, what does he do? Does he fix it? Does he work on it? Or is he continuously messing it up? If he's continuously messing up, exactly. Is he coachable? And there are some kids that, like, if I tell you how to do something, it's going to take you 3, 4, 5 tries, and I can see the wheels spinning, and they're like, oh, like, okay, that's how we do it, and that's okay. But a kid who's like, no, not going to listen to it, like, you automatically get X'd off the chart, and that's how you lose. That's how you lose it.
There's a lot of things that X you off the charts. Grades is one of them, right? So grades, if we can't shoot you through admissions, then it's a problem, right? Now you're advocating for a kid with a 2.2 that this guy's got to do you a favor, right? And if the kid don't work out, now you can't ask that guy the next time for a kid with a 2.2. You got to be careful on who you ask. You know what I mean? I had a situation like this a couple years ago. I had this kid, running back from South. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to dirt the kid, right? Phenomenal running back. Terrible grades. He was an immigrant from Haiti. His scores were bad. His grades were like a 2.3, 2.4. I get him into Westfield in this special program. And he would have been phenomenal up there. And Westfield's terrible right now. They are. They're terrible right now. And they really wanted this kid because this kid, you couldn't catch him in like a room. You know what I mean? The three of us couldn't catch him in a room. He's quick as a cat, right? And I think he had like 1,500 yards for us and like 20 touchdowns, right? Very good, very, very like dynamic player, like kick returner type that could play as a freshman in Division III, kick return, probably play DB, could probably play running back, just not big enough at that. He needed a year or two in the weight room. Anyway, I get him in. I actually paid the $300 for him to get through admissions. They give him this. He got in through a like alternative program for minority students, right? Which Framingham has, I think Westfield has. But this guy went out of his way. This guy O'Brien, the recruiter for Westfield, he's a Central Mass recruiter. He went out. He bent over backwards for me to get this kid in. Then the pandemic hits, and I'm at work next to Summerhill Ave, Greendale Liquors. I work at the fire station there, and I see this BMW pull up. And it's this kid in the car. It's like October. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Why aren't you in school? Coach, I didn't go because they're not playing football. Right? So now I can't ask this dude again. This recruiter, O'Brien, who's a great guy.
Oh.
Wasn't sure if it was me or him.
Yeah, I think it's him. His phone might have died. You know what? It's a great segue. Oh, no, he's back. Bob, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
We lost you.
I'm here. Are you there?
Right. Yeah, we can hear you. Finish it. You froze that when you said that you couldn't ask him again.
I can't. I can't ask that guy again for a favor. You know what I mean? Like, I feel I'm embarrassed about it. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. It's like that was like first year being a head high school football coach. Like, I learned my lesson. Like, I sold myself out for this kid. And we also put a kid at Franklin Pierce that year. I got a story about him, too, and I'll tell you his name, Harrison Bajolo. He was a fantastic player who didn't play for 3 years. He played his senior year, but he didn't like the coach at Salt, so he played when I took over. He was phenomenal. And this guy from Franklin Pierce, he played at Texas. He's a nut, this guy, right? I don't know, Rob. You know his name? I forget his name. But anyway, they just went Division II, so they were throwing money everywhere, right, all over the place. And he had this kid on it. I sold this guy on him. I sent him a highlight video. I sent it to everybody, right. This guy got back to me. He's like, "Oh, holy crap! Who the hell is this kid?" I'm like, "Harrison Bajolo." This kid's, and he's like a God-fearing kid, like this fantastic kid. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm selling you on this." So it's like Friday before the Super Bowl. Pat's in the Super Bowl. It's Friday before the Super Bowl. And he says, I call him. I go, "What the heck? I haven't heard from you. Like, are you offering this kid or what?" He goes, "Why? Where's he get offers from?" I said, "Bentley, this, that, the other thing." Get all kinds of offers, but he wants to play for you. But that was really the only offer he had was Franklin Pierce, So I sold him. He goes, "I'll call you Sunday." I go, "You're going to call me during the Super Bowl?" He goes, "Well, I offered 4 kids." He said, "And if 2 of them drop out, I'm offering Harrison." I said, "Okay." I said, "But I don't believe you." because you're not going to call me at 8 o'clock on Super Bowl Sunday. The dude did. Called me at Super Bowl Sunday, and he's like, can Harrison sign right now? And I'm like, yep, send me paperwork. And he did. He put together a package. The kids still had to pay a few grand to go. You know what I mean? They give him like a merit scholarship, then they give him some money for football. It's the way Division II works, you know. They kind of split their scholarships up because they only get so many of them. And usually the school will give you academic stuff. He had like over a 285 he needed. You know what I mean? So the kid was a good student. He was an easy sell. But, you know, it's like, it's such a dirty game is what I'm saying. It's just a dirty game. But you got to be nice to everybody, you know, because you don't know when that next kid's going to come down the aisle that needs your help or whatever. And I get more 90% of my kids are Division III kids if they want to play. You know what I mean? It's that rare unicorn that comes along that, you know, you're going to promote. And they usually get promoted themselves, you know?
Yeah.
I love it. How about when we get this field put out in the front of South High, man? Because I love the layout. Right, let's do this camp right there, man. Let's get the Pirates there. Let's get Rob there. Let's get Springfield, whatever.
That's the plan. It's also going to be a practice field, too. So there's going to be a full field with lights and then a practice field turfed right in front of the school, which I think is a great design because if the kid's sitting in class all day looking at the athletic fields, it just – Auburn did it right. I'll tell you that. When Auburn built their school and they put all their fields right there and they have the little L-shaped school and – everybody's looking at the fields, baseball, football, all that stuff. Like, that's a great design, man. You sit in class all day and, you know, you're looking out and it's going to attract more people, you know,
I was
more
very
kids.
surprised. I did the tour of Fred before that game out in
North Middlesex.
Yeah, the week before. But I couldn't believe it. And at first I was like, huh. And then I was like, wow. You know what I mean? That's like the show. That's the showcase that school right there. You see it when you go in, you see it when you leave, and that's what it's about. And athletics mean a lot more than people know, you know, to bring these kids up. You know what I mean? Discipline, brotherhood, all that heart, all that kind of stuff happens on that field before you go in, before you go out, and that's it. And that's what people should see when they go there.
There's so much more dirt to it than that, too. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing in the city, you know, is, you know, some of these towns are, you know, they all do good jobs, but, you know, their accessibility to things and some of the things they have, and, you know, we haven't had them. We're gonna have them, but I don't know if that. I don't know how that's gonna play out, Mike. Honestly, because I like the grit. You know what I mean? So,
but we deserve
if
our
it's
time
easy,
to shine,
you know, if it's easy, what the hell are they gonna listen to me for? You know what I mean? They ain't gonna listen to me. You know what I mean? I'm selling grit. You know, I'm selling.
But that's where the magic happens, my man. That's how you build that That's how you're building that program. These kids are learning the right way. I think, you know, there's a lot more to take from football, like I said, than just the sport itself. There's a lot more into it, and you're doing it the right way, man. You're doing.
I think sports are an extension of the classroom, and I think that's forgotten on a lot of towns and everywhere, cities. Like, you know, like we pump a lot of money into programs that fail. Let's put more money into sports and see how that goes. I think you'll get a better
normal. Man, give a shout out to your buddy Jermaine Johnson. Is that his name?
Jermaine, man, 1,000-point scorer at South High, going for school committee. I don't really know his views. I'm not a politician, but he's just, you know, he's a South High guy. So
I'm gonna. He wants to extend the classroom with the sports and vice versa. I'm with that. Like this ain't a political show. It never will be. But you know, I stand for that, man. Get these kids doing the normal things again. You know, I mean.
What's wrong with intramural league? What's wrong with intramural leagues at school? Like, you should never cut a kid in any sport, right?
I agree.
You get 100 kids signing up for baseball and only 15 make it. Let the other 85 play an intramural league right down on your campus, man, because you're always going to miss somebody, right? 100%. And it's just a matter of, you know, they don't pay enough coaches, right? So getting volunteers is difficult. It's not an easy thing to volunteer, right?
Yep.
School gets out at it. It doesn't coincide with people's schedules. School gets out 1:45, right? If you work a 7 to 3 job, most people don't. Most people work a 9 to 5, or they work even longer. It's hard for somebody to volunteer, even though if they want to. I can't tell you how many people that say, "Oh, I'm going to come help you this year." And I know they're not going to, because I know they can't do it. It's not their fault,
Right.
but I just know they can't do it. Time wise.
It's kudos to guys like you that take care, and all your coaches too, man. You have a phenomenal team on top of the team, on top of the kids going. So you're moving in the right direction, man. I love it all. Colonel Pride, baby.
Colonel Pride, you know it.
Colonel Pride. Hey, we'll give a shout out.
You don't have your hat on tonight, Mike. I'm a little upset you don't have your bucket hat on tonight.
It's at work. I wore it.
Oh, you kidding me?
Take it off.
Are you at work right now? Isn't this your work?
I wish, man. Someday, you never know. But I love it. So, guys, it's Thirsty Thursday. It's 9:30. Rob, thank you. Rob's been there for an hour and a half now. Bobby, I tried to get you on early. I'm telling you, I sent you that. But thank you for coming on and sticking with us, man. This is a whole nother episode. This is supposed to be like just an extension, but
Rob, very nice talking to you, man. And let's talk soon about this stuff in the spring. We're gonna have a field. Now, I'm doing this, so if you want to be down, let's do it.
Let's get the
sure.
network going,
Whatever I can do to help out. I work at a school right next to the Greendale, the old Greendale Y. So I'm still in Worcester, and I'm around.
Awesome.
All right. What do you work? You work at Bancroft?
No, I work at CMP, Central Mass Prep.
Oh, okay. I got you. I know what that is. That's cool. And Mike, thanks for having me as always, Colonel's Pride, right? You know that, my man.
I've been chasing it for weeks, bro. I mean, come on. Thank you.
I get busy. I got to shut everything down once in a while, and just do my thing.
Hey, I knew where your head was at, man. I know where your heart is at. I understand it 100%. Keep focused. Get these kids representing us like you did before the hype and after the hype will be.
Listen, I think all the city kids need the hype, man. It ain't just South High. Like, I'm representing all these city kids. Doherty kids.
Doherty doesn't need any hype, man.
No, the North kids, the Tech kids. Like, I'm good friends with all these guys. These guys are all hustling the same way I am. And
I'm all about it, man. If it's 508, if it's in the city, I got it. But Colonels come first, though.
Colonels come first, but everybody else is there too,
Absolutely. 100, man. Well, guys, thank you again. We'll throw one shout out to my big sponsor, man, Emily Interiors and Platt's Landscaping, Colonel, through and through.
And hey, the Rivera boys. I tell you, Rivera's daughter is the best soccer player around.
I put the live on tonight, man. Yeah, you said that. You said that earlier. So, and definitely a huge shout to the Riveras, man. They put me on. I'm telling you, the boxing scene is hot right now. So you guys don't remember like Rob. Like I went to school with Bobby Harris and Rob Robinson, and I was there with Jerome Johnson. You know what I mean? Like that, yep.
Like boxing was in its infancy at South High. Sean, the Irish Express. You know what I mean? Like that's fits it.
So you guys, I get December 18th is the Rivera show out in Webster, the town hall.
Hey, if we had a boxing team in 1988, we would have never lost a fight.
No shit. Yeah, world champions all over the place, bro.
That's right.
But hey, feel free. You guys are both more than welcome to sit at the table with us. I already got tickets. We're going to be a sponsor of the show. Clear your calendar. Come with me. We'll be ringside. So
December 18th?
December 18th at the Webster Town Hall. It's like 45 away. I'll come pick you both up and bring you home. I drove Peter McNeely home Saturday night. How about that?
I seen Peter McNeely years ago when there was a hotel on Lincoln. Okay, and there was a boxing match there across from like the Denny's. It was like a Hojo's or something. Yeah. And there was a boxing event there, and I seen Peter McNeely there. Imagine that. 30-something.
A fantastic human being. Misunderstood. I mean, he is a wild dude, but you ask that guy about a round that he fought, he'll tell you what happened at minute 110. He knows he is sharp as a tool. I mean, it was I drove an hour with the man just discussing crazy boxing, man, and he'll be with us. He's coming. Fitzy will be there. But Peter's an honorary colonel, man. I don't even know where he went to high school, but Medfield, I'm sure. But,
remember his press conference? He was giving a shout out to, I think it was like Muggsy or something. This is for Muggsy and Medfield. Like, what was it?
Dude,
Tubby.
Yep. Awesome. But guys, we're gonna wrap it up. Thank you again. We will definitely talk soon. Bobby, we'll see you Saturday. I'll be there at 9:55.
Bright and early, my friend.
You know it. Have a great night, guys. Be safe. Colonel Pride, baby.